And in golf, former UWF golfer Chandler Blanchett is a winner on the PGA Tour Latino America Tour, winning his first tournament at the Sao Paulo Golf Club Championship. I'm Davis Allen with your UWF Argos update for ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Building-related illnesses. We get a lot of calls related to this. People that are sick from a building. Hi, this is Todd from Gulf Coast Air Care. Millions of people suffer from building-related illnesses. Symptoms include coughing, sneezing, headaches, watery, itchy eyes, and a host of breathing problems. At Gulf Coast Air Care, we have the solution. We can inspect, clean, and treat your AC system so you'll feel great. If you have dust issues or health problems that you feel are related to your home or office building, you should give us a call. We'll share the tips and secrets you need to know for a comfortable, healthy indoor climate. Gulf Coast Air Care, 934-2768. That's 934-2768. Our service will extend the life of your air conditioner, and your system will be much more energy efficient too. Let us help you by cleaning the most neglected system in your home or workplace. Find us on the web at gulfcoastaircare.com or call us at 934-2768. Hit it, Sarah.
Serious cleaning, Gulf Coast Air Care.
Well, here we are again, and I got to tell you, Jim, this match has me really concerned.
That's right, Ron. In one corner, we have a powerful heavyweight, a train, weighing in at a whopping 6,000 tons. And in the other, this hasty lightweight challenger, a car, at just 1.5 tons.
This does not bode well for the car or the people in it.
Ron, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
This driver can't think he can beat a train.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people are injured or killed trying to beat a train at rail crossings. Trying to beat a train is more dangerous than you think. See Tracks, Think Train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, recapping Monday Night Football. What a game that was. The parlay bettor didn't get it done. Hopefully he hedged.
Just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by
by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every night on Blab TV. I am Chad Brilliante. Glad to be with you here as we have a lot to get to. Earlier today, Go Gators. We had some fun out there. I'm not just saying Go Gators to start the show. I'm not just saying that, but Go Gators in general. We had the show, Go Gators, from 1 to 2 today, and then the Feinbaum Show from 2 to 5, and back in the saddle. Just realized I did not eat lunch, but Eric Vidrine's over here giving me some lessons, the guy that is on like a 3,000-calorie diet while somehow still weighing about 1,000 pounds less than us. But at the same time, I don't need you to lecture me. All I'm going to say is I forgot. It was just a general statement, like, Brick, you murdered a guy with a trident. Like, sometimes you just throw things out there. You want to lay low because you're probably wanted for murder. Looking at some of the things going on, Monday Night Football, Bears, not the most visually pleasing game. Not the kind of game where, unless you're a defensive coach, like, yeah, running it back for another touchdown, getting it in the gridiron. Like, outside of that, there was a lot of crap, a lot of bad plays, missed field goals. Didn't look good overall. And the Bears get the victory. But Dwayne Haskins, look, the Redskins have been waiting for a name change. People out there protesting, picketing. Daniel Snyder says, look, it's my cash. I'm not going to rebrand for $20 million. If you'd like to give me a loan, give me some money so I can put a new logo, it's one thing. But the Washington Haskins, the future, the possibility, the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Joe Ford's team. You can hear Joe on Talk Football with Coach K each and every afternoon from 12 to 1 alongside the former NFL coach. What's happening, my friend?
Not much, man. Saw you at UCF trying to beef up that future schedule. How about that?
Nothing like getting everybody excited about a team by playing another team that doesn't get any credit from anybody else in Boise State and BYU. Like, you found the two teams. Might as well just throw Northern Illinois, Central Michigan, anybody that's ever been decent, but never will get the, well, you didn't play in a big boy conference. Like, it's the opposite of what you're trying to, like, I would pinpoint names right now. Like, I would go after names like Tennessee, hit them while they're down, pop, pop. Hit Tennessee, Nebraska up, go after a couple
Arkansas.
teams. Yeah, Arkansas, Northwestern. Like, let's go after all the teams that you'll get a little street cred, even though their team's not that good. Like, Northwestern goes out there and gets beat at home by Stanford by double digits, and then UCF turns around and beats them by 30, but nobody, that means we could really crush Northwestern and get under Pat Fitzgerald's skin, as many people have on Twitter. But I'm just saying.
And then if you think about it, 2022, 2023, maybe Harbaugh would be out by Michigan, and that might have a little flair to their game too, so they can put them on the schedule.
Overall, though, I'm not that worried. The bigger one right there, though, how about Utah, the Utes, and Florida? And it looks like 2022 and 2023 will play. That is an interesting matchup right there. Urban Meyer has left both teams.
The adios,
the adios, the senor.
Maybe you could get. Here's an idea.
Bon Voyage Meyer Bowl.
Yeah,
right there,
so maybe you could get Ohio State and Bowling Green to play on the same day. Maybe like all four teams could, play at the same neutral site. You could have just like the Urban Meyer Classic.
I've always said, and I think we talked about that, Joe, how if like the Mecca, like they do for the U.S. Open in tennis in New York or Wimbledon, like they had out in the middle, it'd have to be somewhere in Wyoming where like people have a lot of acres and it's not, you can't do this in downtown Manhattan. Literally,
there's only two cities in Wyoming. Yeah. I live there, so I mean, good luck.
Well, what I'm saying is just get a huge-ass pasture out there and just be able to build a ton of football fields all over and have these type of games where like the Maui Invitational where you kick it off in Hawaii where everybody gets off the plane, they're wearing their Hawaiian shirts and people get laid, and if you don't get that joke, then you're probably like, oh my goodness, did he say that? And then all of a sudden they get out there, they play the Chaminade Silver Swords, and then the next thing you know, you move on. The coaches get to wear shorts and a bunch of tennis shoes and enjoy their day out there. Bill Walton's usually doing the game. I'm seeing colors. It's in Maui. It's so incredible. Volcanoes erupting. And then all of a sudden, you end it and people still have the rest of their season to get back in it, because Michigan State usually loses a game to Kansas, Kentucky usually loses a game, and it doesn't matter because you still end up finding a way back into the tournament, and it's regular season college basketball, which is very irrelevant to the overall model. In college football, how cool would that be to kick off the season where you had one area, like the Mecca, you call it college football Mecca, and there's about 5 or 6 games going on, and they're all going on at the same time with just elite games to kick off the season. Instead of one neutral site, you can buy tickets for the whole weekend where you get Florida versus Ohio State, or you get USC versus Alabama, and you get Notre Dame's versus Georgia's, and you have all these games, and they play in one area.
Kind of like
kicks off
College World Series, everybody there.
Football kickoff at this Mecca. And you can buy an allotment of tickets. Man, how cool. I mean, that would be the ultimate destination for every sports fan out there, would be like, I am going to the Mecca. Now, this was going to take years and a lot of people putting a lot of time and effort into building these huge stadiums over in the middle of nowhere where people can't drive by. But how cool would that be?
It would be really cool. The only thing I would think about is, after seeing how high the ticket prices were for Notre Dame, Georgia, being able to afford, let's say, 6 games of that magnitude. You're talking about like people dumping around $4,000 for that or something. I mean, that hefty. So from your perspective,
they pay $250 a pop for like Circus Soleil.
True.
Just saying. I saw a guy that saw The Lion King 4 times, the show, not the $10 movie.
The Broadway show.
The Broadway show. Saw it 4 times while he was out there. That's like $600 in Lion King. I'm just saying, people have the money. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. It's just that's how I always think about things.
No, this would not be for the people that are wondering if they're going to mortgage their home or watch a neutral site game. It would be a destination like the people talking about going to Tomorrowland in Belgium to fist pump in an EDM concert. It'd be like people going to the World Cup that can afford to go to the World Cup to watch the games all over, where they go to places where, no joke, in Czech Republic my friend went, and I don't know if he was in this boat. I hope he was not, but they shut off the water at clubs, literally shut off the water in Czech Republic, because people out there are, let's just say, happy on happy pills, different types of things where you need to stay hydrated, and they charge $25 to $30 a water bottle. And people buy it because they don't want to die. But overall, it's a different world, and it's a different breed. And hey, look, it would be an ultimate destination where you can mark like, hey, you know, I took my sonny to Cooperstown out there. We had some fun in the Hall of Fame. Or you could be like, hey, I went to the college football Mecca. You could even call it that. Like going and seeing the pyramids in Egypt. And it'd be like 10 games right in that area. Just huge stadiums all over. And you could have different types of stadiums too. Like throw in one for the Boise and Washington, Eastern Washington fans, like a blue/red All-American turf, like a Stripes. They could have some fun, but I'm telling you, you're looking at land map surveys right now. So
now,
are we getting a head start on this? This is about a 10-year project here. So,
well, I will say during football season, because I did live in Wyoming, and it was negative 40 degrees, so that's probably not the best location.
You 3 people that I've talked to that I know that lived in Wyoming.
Well, I mean, this would be in the early part of the season, though.
Oh, this would kick off the season. Yeah, you can't do this at the end. Because those, you got to save. We got to keep everything holy for the home games. You know, you got to. But I'm just saying, this would be an ultimate destination. And you can't throw the crap in there. You can't give them a Tulsa versus Oklahoma game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
one idea, because nobody's going to go for the idea of like building monster stadiums in the same area. But what we could do is kind of what Major League Baseball is doing with the Field of Dreams, in that you could, maybe even the same complex. You just create the Field of Dreams complex where you have the baseball diamonds, and then you buy 100 or however many acres you need. You stick like 3 or 4 football fields there, and all you would really need would be some temporary bleachers. And maybe it's not a thing where fans pay to see it, but like Major League Baseball does is they go to different military installations and they give tickets out to service members and their families. Maybe that, and the rest of us just get to watch it on TV.
Yeah, and somebody would pay a lot for that drone that's going over all 6 stadiums, and they would have to space it out over time. Just a thought. It would be cool. I probably had some kind of dream on taking melatonin a couple nights ago and thought of this. That's where it sounds like this is going, because regardless if this happens, it would be like a 10-year project. Looking at some of the other things going on right now as we breeze through, would you give back a 2,000 RBI ball. Albert Winnie the Pujols hit that, and he's wondering, and a fan has given it back to Cooperstown. Would you, if you had an opportunity, because you know that's worth some money, and the machine can spit out some cash like an ATM. Let's go to our phone lines, and 623-1330 is the number. Tony is on the line. Tony, what's happening, my friend?
How you doing, Chad?
Hey, Tony and Pace. What's happening, my friend?
Good. Hey, I told you I'd call it to the Notre Dame-Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
We hung tough with them. We just come up a little short, but it was a good game, though, Chad. I was proud the way Notre Dame fought to the end with them.
Yes, it is. I think in that case, like you said, coming up short doesn't mean that it wasn't an exciting moment. You know, it's one of those kind of things where for Georgia fans, they got to feel like they proved to a lot of people that they can hang in an environment that was Georgia. You know, this wasn't a neutral site game. It was between the hedges, and they had a shot. They were right there throughout most of the game. Georgia's a good football team. This is not one of these teams that's, well, we're trying to figure out if Georgia's good. Georgia has proven by a couple plays away from beating Alabama and having a chance to be right there with Clemson and Alabama, where if it wasn't for a Tua pass, we would completely look differently at the way Georgia has played in the last couple years. One pass has changed the dynamics of what we think of in Georgia, where we always put Alabama and Clemson there, but we're like, and Georgia. But if they would have made a couple plays that go different, we'd be thinking of them the exact same way as Clemson and Alabama. And you guys hung with them the whole time. So I give credit. That's a good team. Ian Book is a good quarterback. They just offensively are not going to be able to hang with a couple of the really big teams.
Yeah, it's just that you can just tell the difference. One, I think their offense wore us down in the second half. They just kept pounding the ball, which you have to when you got Swift as your running back. And, I think we just got wore down, and our offensive line was just getting blitzed like crazy. But I was proud. After what we did in the championship game last year against Clemson, getting our doors blown off, that's what I said. Let's just keep it where at least we have a chance. We had a chance in the fourth quarter. We just come up, a little short, but now we just got to run the table, and there's a lot of football left, and just see what happens, Chad. There's still, tons of games. People in front of us play each other, but we have to definitely run the table and see where the chips fall. And if you'd asked me at the beginning of the season, Chad, would I take 11-1? I'd have to take it as a Notre Dame fan. And even if that don't get us in the playoffs, 11-1, teams would die to have an 11-1 season, Chad.
Tony, that wasn't a subliminal message, you saying, let's see where the chips fall because you want me to bring back Pensacola Poker Room, is it?
No,
I was going to say, I just want to make sure. I see how you ease that into my mind right there.
Hey, Chad, I got a dilemma for you I was in last night, Chad. See how, all right, I'm a Redskin fan.
It's a family show, by the way,
game went last
with this night dilemma.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, continue.
Yeah. So I had Chicago Bears defense last night, and I needed 22 points. Mm-hmm. So how do you think I was feeling during that game?
Probably watching the entire thing when most of us went to bed knowing it was over.
Yeah, pretty much. After whenever we were down 28-0, I was like, well, at least I got my point. And then we start making a comeback. I'm like, no, don't come back now. You already lost the game. Don't make me lose my fantasy team game too.
I accepted that a long time ago.
I got my yeah. All right, Chad.
Tony,
yeah.
Have a good one, buddy.
All right, you too, Chad.
Tony and Pace right there. Look, he's a Notre Dame Washington fan. He's been calling in for a very long time. But I'm going to tell you this. I accepted a long time ago. I came with that because if you're a diehard sports fan and you play fantasy football, you have to come to that moment where one time it's going to affect your team. Now, if your team already stinks, no offense, Joe, but the Jets stink. Ohio State's a very good football team in college, and you're rooting them on. Not too many people play college fantasy football or care. But at the same time, when you look at the NFL, you've come to a conclusion that the Jets aren't good, and if it's to win your fantasy week, you're going to root them on.
I go into the week knowing already what's going to happen with the Jets, right? And I think Tony knew what was going to happen with the Redskins. We all thought, maybe the Redskins keep it close, but you play the Bears defense because of games like yesterday, right? So going into the Patriots Jets game, I'm thinking, okay, so the Jets are going to get hammered. I accept that, but in doing so, I expect Le'Veon Bell, who I also have on my fantasy team. I said, hey, I think he's going to get a lot of catches because they're going to be down 50-0, and they're going to have nothing else to lose, and they're just going to throw it a ton, and he's going to get all these PPR points. And didn't exactly happen that way, but you go into it accepting certain realities about your life.
Eric, you seem like the kind of guy that's going to come in with a comment, I'm not that worried about fantasy football. Is that where we're going?
No, actually, I'm very, very competitive.
Really? Okay.
I don't care if we're playing pickup sticks. I'm going to try to
But do you play fantasy football?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the commissioner in one league. It's a keeper league, so I draft very, very strategically because, for instance, Darius Geis with the Redskins, shout out to Tony there, is obviously hurt right now. But now okay, why would I drop Darius Geis to pick up, let's say, like a Malcolm Brown if I know that Darius Geis is going to come back and he's going to be able to be on your roster next year? So I like doing the keeper league because it gives you that element of team building, and you have to balance out, okay, do I contend this year and drop somebody that I may not want to, or do I try to have a bunch of people? So, like, last year, everybody knew Mark Ingram was going to be a starting running back, so I had Mark Ingram. You know what I mean? So
it's not a bad way.
So it gives you an additional strategy, and I'm all for a strategy, and I'm all for competitiveness.
Like always having a backup plan for Le'Veon Bell and Ezekiel Elliott, right?
Well, Tony Pollard rushed for 100 yards, so that's a pretty good backup plan.
Yeah, not bad at all. He did take away from Hyde and Zeke in the fourth quarter there. But I'm telling you, I look right now, I remember as a Patriot fan in a big game, I had Peyton Manning as my quarterback, not a bad move back in the day. But I remember sitting there and realizing that I had to make the decision at that point. Do I root for what is the Patriots to obviously win a big game, or to win it all in fantasy pretty much, to get in there at that moment? It was week 16, I believe, and they ended the season in week 16 because week 17, was one of those.
Right,
everybody's benching everybody. So the playoffs were started in week 13. It was 14, 15, and 16. And it was week 16, but it was a vital game for home field advantage, and the Patriots and the Colts were sitting there, and I'm like, gosh, I'm rooting in the back.
Fantasy.
Well, this is an easy question. This is an easy question to answer. You root for the Patriots to win like a 55-51 shootout where Peyton throws
didn't
for
work
4
out
touchdowns.
that way.
So I usually go, and this is going to
Patriots intercept them like 3 times, and I lost the fantasy league. But Patriots went on to win the Super Bowl, so I guess thank you to the Tuck rule and many other things that year, it worked out in my favor. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, I'm sure you could sacrifice a loss, Chad.
Yes. I mean, the point of this conversation was for all of you, and I think we all agree, to feel bad for me as a Patriot fan. I think that's where we're going here. UCF is playing BYU and Boise. Everybody get excited. We're coming back for more. We're going to talk some NFL, get to last night's game. We'll also look at what would you do in the situation. And coming up here, we actually have a decent Thursday night football game. Hopefully it pans out to be that way as the Eagles and Packers will take the field. Looking for Rodgers to discount double check a couple touchdowns. Coming back for more right here. It's a Tuesday edition of the Sports Drive.
Hey sports fans, we know that we all fumble now and then when we're headed for the end zone, and our vehicles are no exception. Next time your bad ride is a little off sides, take it to Amco Transmission, your total car care facility. And with no interest financing, even with less than perfect credit, you'll drive away feeling as if you caught the winning touchdown. You always make the right play when you take your vehicle to Amco Transmission on Davis Highway, just south of Airport Boulevard. Visit them on Facebook or call 800-GO-AMCO. AA-MCO.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. JC and I had a blast this Thursday for the grand opening of Burger King's newest location on 9 Mile Road at University. Burger King brought the heat with its new chicken sandwich. JC enjoyed the Impossible Whopper, like the impossibility of his Dallas Cowboys making the Super Bowl. His waistline is glad he did. If you couldn't make it last Thursday, don't worry. Stop by anytime at Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University. Ask them to throw you some heat with their new chicken sandwich. Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University across from Target.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Florida's no-fault law was passed in 1971. However, several changes took place in 2013 which negatively impacted accident victims. First, if you do not treat within 14 days, you lose your PIP benefits. Second, massage therapy and acupuncture are no longer covered benefits. Finally, if you pay for 10,000 benefits and are not EMC certified, you may only have 2,500 in coverage.
Visit grossandschuster.com.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Ivan Maisel, host of the ESPN College Football 150 podcast Down and Distance, commemorating the 150th anniversary of the sport.
We're going inside them. We're going outside them. Inside them, outside them.
On our debut episode, America Mourns Rockne, I'll tell you the story of how the beloved Notre Dame coach's funeral changed the way we as a nation remember our heroes. Download, subscribe, and review Down and Distance, available wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh, my gosh. That's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Having some fun coming back here on a Tuesday. Welcome back to the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You can check us out on Facebook as well, always streaming live, and each and every day on Blab TV from 5 to 7, replayed midnight to 2 a.m. Always having some fun and looking forward to talking to head coach Pete Shinnick coming up of the UWF Argos. He'll join us. Nice wins. They were able to go out there and crush it this week. They had fun in a 69-0 victory. How about that? Robert Gronkowski would have been proud. It was a dominant performance and a game where, you know, they've been able to beat Virginia Lynchburg and Shorter by a ton. And that's, even though they weren't the best teams, you got to look at it that way. We don't cover for the most part, and if you do, good for you. You have more time than I do, and we're even in this business. But outside of maybe somebody that works in the Argo athletic department, we don't know a ton about every team outside of the Gulf South Conference. I know a lot about teams like North Alabama or West Alabama, or the teams we play. We've seen teams like Carson Newman and squads that we've seen over the past few years play against a team like UWF, but I don't know a ton about teams like Virginia Lynchburg. I knew it was a historic city that I went to and stayed at a Holiday Inn. This isn't a commercial. I actually stayed there, and it was fun. They had a heated pool. But overall, it came down they have a single-A affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Pretty cool. But I remember watching that game and saying, this is not that good of a football team. I mean, it really wasn't. So I'm not going to take a ton from this and say UWF is going to – they finally found it. But at the same time, when you win 69-0 in football, it's a big win. And it was our first home game. So hopefully they can build on that, Joe, and continue that this week as they're going to be continuing to battle. They'll be at home, and we're looking forward to that game coming up here. We'll have it for you on Saturday where you can catch every UWF game throughout the season and getting set to go. So we're going to have Coach Pete Shinnick coming up on the show. That will be right around the corner at 6:30 as we'll get to more on UWF football, and you can get involved with it as they take on Mississippi College coming up here at 6 p.m. on ESPN Pensacola. Well, looking at the title odds, it hasn't really changed that much. It's Clemson at 2.25, Alabama at 2.75 to 1, Georgia at 5, LSU at 8, and Ohio State at 9, with Oklahoma and Auburn sort of right there in the mix. I think that's pretty fair, but we know that some of those teams, Auburn, LSU, Alabama, only one can survive. It's, somebody is going to be knocked out. Is there any dark horse or anyone at this point? Maybe Pitt? No, just joking. But is there anybody? They're the new ones. They've taken over. It's like when you take over control of someone's body, like an Alien Encounter. They have taken over the UCF fake national title body. Is there anybody, Joe, that you see on this early list that is probably a little bit surprising that you would slide in as teams like Michigan and others start to fade away?
Well, I mean, for me, it would be Auburn. Because, I mean, before the season, we're talking Gus Malzahn's. This is Gus Malzahn's last year, because there's no way he's going to go like 10-3 or whatever just because of the games. And now he's gotten through Oregon, he's gotten through Texas A&M. Do I give them a great chance of getting to the SEC title game and then on to the college football playoff? No, but I mean, of those teams that we're talking about, we all went into the season thinking that the college football national champion was going to come from a select few teams, and I think we've already, now to week 4, we've already kind of reached that point of, okay, we know who the contenders are, and you could argue whether that's good for the game or not, but I mean, on that list, I mean, it's clearly Auburn for me.
For me, I think the 4 were probably going to be Alabama, Clemson, and then Ohio State and Oklahoma. Based off how Michigan looked against Wisconsin, I think you can pretty much shoo Ohio State in now at this point. And then to top it all off with Oklahoma, I think voters are going to favor Oklahoma. What I mean by that is because I think everybody wants to see the matchup with Alabama. So I don't think Georgia, I don't think they looked overly impressive against Notre Dame. Obviously, until it happens, I'm not going to pick LSU over Alabama. So I think those are going to be the 4 I'm going with.
And what a story it would be if Oklahoma was to make the college football playoff. Think about it this way. Lincoln Riley, I mean, they could just put a statue of him like this, and just put like quarterback God. Because think about, you're looking at a guy that was able to take Baker Mayfield from being an Uber driver and an intramural football player at Texas Tech, who got an opportunity, goes on to win a Heisman and goes through the college football playoff, and left in a way where sort of like Notre Dame this week against Georgia, we're saying, it wasn't his fault. He put up 48 points against Georgia. They just couldn't hold on. The defense allowed them to go down the field and score to even go to overtime with Jake Fromm and how that got done. So then you go ahead and get Kyler Murray, who a lot of people remember Murray gunslinging it around there, throwing balls at Texas A&M that were just all over the place. And then he comes over. He decides to go to college, stay there when he's getting baseball and passing down the millions to play Billy Ball out there and have some fun with sabermetrics in Oakland. And then he goes and wins a Heisman and also goes to the college football playoff. So you've got 2 stories back-to-back. If Jalen Hurts, another transfer, make that a trifecta, a 3-way, another transfer goes out there and is able to win a Heisman, and he's not out of the picture right now, and he probably has the best path because he plays a bunch of crap defenses. You go out there and you do that, and then you have an opportunity to slide in and get to a college football playoff, even if you get out there and get roasted by an Alabama or a Georgia or a Clemson. That'll be ridiculous. I mean, that storyline, that plot, you're never going to see that again, where 3 transfers, 3 guys who couldn't win their job transfer out and end up becoming Heisman and college football playoff. You'll never see that story again. And I know we're in week 4, so jumping to conclusions like that going into week 5 is pretty ridiculous. But if it happens, and there's a legit shot it happens, it'd be an incredible story. It really would be.
Well, let me throw this one at you. What if he goes for the fatal 4-way and gets King from
I was just going to
Houston?
say.
So he goes 4. Now,
then,
that would so to your point, that would be really, really impressive if he was able to pull that off.
And with a name like King, I mean, it just makes sense getting that 4th right there and getting it done. How about this? How about some jumping around love for Bucky the Badger? Think about it that way. You got a team right now that is 3-0, and I'm looking at their schedule because they silently usually play a bunch of the, I like to say, the hobo teams of record-wise in the Big Ten. They don't always have the schedule. It's not going to be – they usually get to not have to take on Penn State. They don't have to take on a few of the big dogs. Outside of – look at their games coming up. They just had a signature win against Michigan at the time when Michigan was in the top 10.
Well, I know Ohio State's a crossover game for them this year.
They've got – yes, and that's going to be key because they have Northwestern, Kent State. They play Michigan State at home, which they can win, and then at Illinois before you could – I mean, legitimately, there's no reason they can't be 7-0 in that game, walking in at Ohio State, which will be a huge top 5 game. I mean, it'll probably be 6 or 7 versus 4. And you're going to have an opportunity to battle that one out. And if they win that game, then Wisconsin's on a path. And we always give Wisconsin sort of the, well, here they go. They're that team, like an Eeyore, like, well, we had Michigan State. We had Washington, and they all got blown out by Alabama, and probably would happen. Wisconsin and Alabama are going to play in that home and home coming up here. It'd be an early preview. But as a dark horse right now, going at it 28-1 odds.
Yeah.
Not a bad shuffle, especially after that guy lost his 89-cent parlay.
I mean, they can beat anybody at any given time. I mean, the only reason that I would probably fade Wisconsin there is because they would, in all likelihood, have to beat Ohio State twice. And once at Ohio State and then another time in the Big Ten title game. And, I mean, that's a tough ask, especially just how Ohio State looks right now. But
that offensive line and Jonathan Taylor are the real deal. I mean,
absolutely.
They've outscored their opponents this year at USF, which is not a bad game. It's not a great game, but doubles.
It was what,
49-0.
Yeah, something like that.
Central Michigan went out there, the Fighting Jim McElwains.
The Chippewas.
During Shark Week, he was excited. He was pumped, and he goes out there and gets beat 61-0. He even called him out. He's like, I believe we have this one. Confidence, 61-0. And then Michigan, in a 2-point spread, they go out and win 35-14. So they've dominated their opponents so far, and it shouldn't change with Northwestern. And actually, Pat Fitzgerald, he was talking about his play calling and some of the stuff, and we have it for you here. Joe's like, I'm just pointing like this, ET over here. It's right there.
Well,
Pat Fitzgerald.
They have been on an alien kick lately.
This is what Pat feels like. It's one day, bro. The Pat Fitzgerald and how he feels about what he thinks on Twitter.
Play Wii and golf all week. What do you think? Yeah, I go into every game plan expecting it to work. To be quite honest with you, I understand there's 40,000 experts on Twitter that can call plays for me, so my email address is hashtag I don't care. Okay, so shoot that out. We got to be better.
Hashtag I don't care.
It's not
that
an
was
email
low audio.
address, Pat.
Yeah. Well, listen, he doesn't know, and he thinks the phones are ruining college football.
Right.
He's an old school guy that goes for it. Anywhere within 4th and 8, he's going to run you over. I mean, that's his. I'll never forget. They're like, well, they've got the ball at their own 1, and it's 4th and 15. He's like, we got this, man. Like, he always is one of those, like, old school linebacker. He's an old school in a sort of a new school looking coach in an old school body. Like, he plays the old, like, Newt Rockne style, like, I'm going to run you over. And I look at it right now and say, you know what? He's 40,000 experts on Twitter can call my plays for me. My email address is hashtag I don't care. So good line there. Pat's throwing out. His football team's not playing well, but he's doing well with the pressers. When we come back, we're going to get to more on some of the college football news and notes, including a huge moment for Aggie Land. Yes, they have signed Sam Houston State and McNeese, and we will mention that. Oh, wait, we already did, and it doesn't deserve another one. We're coming back for more right here. It's the Sports Drive off and running on this Tuesday evening on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
I'm really hungry, but I don't want to spend a fortune.
Well, you're in luck. Now you can get Denny's Super Slam with 2 eggs, 2 bacon strips, 2 sausage links, hash browns, and 2 pancakes, all for just $5.99.
That is a great deal. So I get all of that for just $5.99?
You sure do.
Wow, this meal just keeps getting better and better.
Some might say super.
I see what you did there.
The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. No substitutions.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities, as well as benefits they've earned.
Hello, I'm Senator Marco Rubio. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
ESPN Pensacola is your home for UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. This Saturday, Mississippi College comes to Pensacola to take on the Argos. Pre-game starts at 5:30, kickoff at 6. Hear all the play-by-play action right here on your home for Argos football and local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1. UWF football is presented in part by Summer Vista Assisted Living.
ESPN Pensacola is now on 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. This means you can hear ESPN Pensacola better than ever before with the same great shows like Golick and Wingo, The Dan Levitar Show with Stu Gatz, and The Paul Feinbaum Show, plus live and local sports on the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante, Talk Football with Coach K, and Sports Call with Davis and Justin. The same station, an improved signal, and a new name. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
I'm a lawn guy and proud of it.
Pro tip, watch the fall leaves. When that first bad boy drops, boom, get feeding and seeding with Scott's. Lay down Scott's Turf Builder today, and come spring, your lawn will be so thick, green, and strong, neighbors like Steve over there will be mad green with envy.
Hey, sweet lawn, Stevie.
Steve.
Don't be a Steve. Be a lawn guy. Pick up a bag of Scott's Turf Builder today. This is a Scott's Yard.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, are you just gonna stand there and let people not give you credit for being a good driver? You deserve discounts on car insurance, and that's what Snapshot from Progressive is for. So why aren't you signing up? You need music to get pumped? Hit it! Drum solo! Ow, that hurts my fingers. Ow, ow.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive. All I can think of right here is the little rally monkey from back in the day. If baseball fans remember the L.A. Angels of Anaheim at that time and the San Francisco Giants, where some things are. We had the whole show yesterday, or just parts of it, where you guys were giving me those dirty looks with Area 51 and the things we can't control. Well, this monkey who looked like something out of Ace Ventura, it had nothing to do with probably the overall result on the field, but all of a sudden, this thing would start jumping around in the back in right field. And every single game, it was like a 5-1 game. And the guy would get beamed, next guy would get hit, and the next guy comes up and hits a grand slam. Adam Kennedy twice did it, and San Francisco was up 3-1 in the series. They lost. Barry Bonds and his protein shakes never got a ring. But the Rally Monkey was one a little before your time, Eric. I'm not sure. Do you remember the Rally Monkey?
Is that whenever they played the Giants in the 2001 World Series with Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent?
How old were you? You were younger, right?
Yeah, I was like
I was 16 at that point.
I was
so
9.
Yeah, I was going to say. It was, but I remember watching that. It was yesterday. Garrett Anderson, those guys. Every one of them. Tim Salmon.
The Kingfish.
Yeah, all of those guys would come through.
They had Troy Gloss.
Yeah. Oh, Troy Gloss. The guy just either hit a home run or not going to run
Now,
out.
if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the year that Dusty Baker's son ran out on the field.
Yeah,
he was
a
fat boy,
Yeah,
right?
he almost got hit. Yeah. Yep. That was
same year.
Greg Litton, Dusty, he played for Dusty Baker, and he said you look at records in baseball, and Bruce Bochy, is going to make the Hall of Fame, which is the most, not ridiculous story that he makes the Hall of Fame. I'm rooting him on. He played high school ball with my dad. He's a good guy from Melbourne, Florida. But Bruce was 1995. 1,995 wins and had 2,019 losses a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And he had coached from 1995 to 2019. It was exactly identical. I mean, woo,
it's an X-Files thing.
But at the same time, he's well below 500 if you can do quick math. But the 3 rings pretty much is going to get him solidified for that spot.
You mentioned Dusty Baker, and I got the little heebie-jeebies there.
The vision of, is it just me, or at one point I felt if you always have a toothpick in your mouth like that, there's a chance you'll choke. You know what I'm saying? Like I just those things that I'm always in there. I've got a 3-year-old at home, and anybody that has little kids, you cut up their fruits and vegetables, things like that. You're worried. As a dad, there's a couple things I have to worry about. My wife has to worry about 8 billion. I'm like, okay, make sure they don't choke on food. Make sure that they're sleeping straight up so they don't have their face in the pillow. When they're younger, things like that, they don't teach you. I put them in one of these things. It was called a Merlin, and it looked like she was just like one of those baby stars in one of those cartoons. Like she couldn't move her arms or anything. Straight jacket in an asylum, but I slept good, knowing that she couldn't roll on her face and cry. I'm telling you, the Merlin, check it out. But overall, when it came down to the Rally Monkey, it was just one of these things jumping around. But Dusty Baker, one day I thought he was going to choke on one of those. Just there's Dusty Baker. He's got 3 toothpicks and always had a toothpick in his mouth, regardless, and never had any hors d'oeuvres. Just always the toothpick. Just always the toothpick. Florida State odds for their next head coach. This is obviously, I love it. Says if in little parentheses, like if Willie Taggart is to return.
Right.
They're not even giving it too much. Well, maybe he can turn it around, folks. And okay, here are the odds right here. Let's go over. Does this sound like somebody that would be the possibility of being the next coach? The number 1 odds right now, Dino Babers from Q's. Is that? I mean,
no,
not seeing it.
I don't. No, they're not gonna. They want a proven guy. Like they're not gonna roll the dice
That
twice.
seems like another Taggart
You know what
move.
I mean?
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. You can't roll the dice twice.
But are they at that level? And what I mean by that is it's not just about getting a guy to go out there, and it's not about the accolades of the wins and losses. It's about at this point, the facilities, the amount of money, the alumni can support it. A lot of things going on. Think about it for Florida State. Jimbo Fisher made a huge upgrade financially, fan base, support. Even though in the minds of the beholder of most of us in college football, wouldn't we all agree in here that Florida State has more accolades in football than Texas A&M?
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Well, the newspaper that you had in here the other day, I read an interesting point where Texas A&M actually received the most donations, and that was actually part of the thing that Jimbo Fisher was upset about.
That wasn't a newspaper, by the way. Something was wrapped up in there. Where'd you throw that?
No, it was over here.
Okay, I need that. Somebody's looking for me. Just continue.
Anyways, so whenever I read that, it made sense because he was always complaining that they needed to upgrade the facilities at Tallahassee and yada, 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 and he was asking them to get more money, and they wouldn't do it. So, of course, he gets upset. Texas A&M, they're giving him, oh, here, Jimbo, take this, and you get $1, and you get $1, and that's why he is where he is.
All right, next one on the list, Mike Gundy. He's a man. He's 50, and he's got a sweet mullet.
No, he's not leaving.
Yeah, I think he's kind of cemented his legacy over at Oklahoma State. He got a sweet gig over there.
How about Dave Clawson and what he's done over at Wake? I mean, these are the names that are popping up right now according to Vegas. These are and Vegas doesn't. They got people watching. They've got eyes. Like these are things.
Sure they
do. Matt Campbell over at Iowa State.
That would intrigue me.
He's a young coach, got a lot of energy. Urban Meyer's going out at 7-1. I do not see Urban Meyer. It wouldn't. You know, at this point, nothing would surprise me with Urban Meyer.
It would it would not. I mean, a lot I think would depend on who the athletic director is, and because I mean I know that's big. That's big to him. I mean that's the thing with USC. I mean USC is the favorite right now, but I don't know. I mean, Florida State makes sense because he has ties to the area recruiting. I mean he recruits the state of Florida. He would not have the challenges week in, week out. I mean, he could turn Florida State around in,
How about we get Willie
hour.
Taggart on the show and do this, like the little segment with him? We'd probably pass on
I
that.
wouldn't do that.
But there's two things that come to mind. So obviously, I would try to go for Urban Meyer. Let's say that doesn't happen. But my next thing that I would do if I was Florida State, I would try to steal Josh Heupel from your UCF
I was about to say, now that we can't celebrate any fake parades.
I'm just being honest. And I've told you all the time that I think your Knights are underrated. And, of course, they lost, so it doesn't necessarily carry as much weight right now. But I would immediately go for Josh Heupel over there. And then, believe it or not, someone I would prefer over these guys that you named would be Lane Kiffin. So that might cause some controversy, but I would much rather him, someone that I know is going to get everybody fired up, and whenever he goes into a recruit's home, they don't say, "Who are you, sir?" But someone who can get people fired up and get the fan base something excited about. So I would go Urban, Heupel, Kiffin.
Florida fans are voting for Charlie Weiss. Is that a fair estimate right there? I'm looking at this list, and Chris Peterson's not going anywhere. Cliff Kingsbury's in the NFL. He's going to try the Kyler Murray situation. Names like David Shaw, he's been offered many times and never left, so I'm not expecting now. James Franklin, maybe. It seems like Penn State is starting to go a little bit south, though.
I don't see it because Penn State's a top 15 job, and they're young. I mean, they're very young.
James Franklin likes the visuals, if you know, and Florida State has been ranked very high in that matter. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Like I'm trying to rack my brain to see who out there has that we know that has like legit ties to Florida State. Like not to say that it's my dream job to coach Florida State because we already that's what we're dealing with right now.
Jen Sturger could text Brett Favre for us.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'm just saying if we want. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's hard to tell because the biggest thing, Joe, is where do we look at Florida State as? Because the fans are going to put the short
the problem
list.
Is Florida State's not going to be able to afford Urban.
Exactly.
Because
because of the buyout,
you're paying $17 million.
Yeah,
if we're talking about next year, because like you're paying $17 million to buy out Taggart.
Yeah,
and then you're going to have to offer him in the neighborhood of a Nick Saban contract, which is around $9-10 million.
Well, they were paying Jimbo $7.5. So
yeah, but again, I just
So I think that
financially
realistically,
speaking,
their floor could be 7.5.
Could, yeah.
So if that's the case, I think it's up to that point. Urban, does he say, I'll take 7.5? Because I think they'll be willing to go 7.5.
I think at this point, Florida State needs to realize.
Oh, I would love Urban at Florida State.
I mean, just our area for what we do.
Excited right now.
It would be so much more fun to get to broadcast. Yeah, just to go down there. Yeah, Urban, you get Ohio State, Florida fans coming at them. I'm telling you, it's going to be hard.
Can you imagine those Florida State games?
It would be like the Alabama and the LSU games.
I think you're going to see like a mafia movie. What's happening here with Goodfellas, like the pink Cadillacs and the people with the music, like the violin music where the bodies are found in the river. I think what's going to happen here is you're going to start seeing a bunch of, you're going to see guys like Harlan, the defense coordinator. You're going to see start firing assistants to assistants. Water boys will get fired. They're going to start benching people. They're going to start around you saying, deflect, lawyer you. Yeah, hey, don't look over here. The glove doesn't fit. Don't care if he stabbed him and there's evidence of his footprints leaving the scene. Look over here at the glove. Like, they're going to start giving you so much. And if Willie's able to go out there and win against NC State, if he's going out there and he's going to able to win a couple more games, which he can. I mean, the seasons, even with all of this tragedy, they're 2-2. They're a few plays from being 4-0.
Yeah.
And if that was the case, if they're able to get to a 6-6 record, people will be like, well, the buyout was too much. We can't find the right coach this year. We're going to wait another, and we're going to ride this one out and just milk that money. And sort of, it's like a parlay, a teaser. You're sort of fading it, mutual fund. You're not, you're losing, but you're just going to ride it until it gets, to the point where you're cutting your losses a little less on that buyout. That might happen as well. You could see probably deflect, get rid of a bunch of people around you, put them in the back of the Cadillac, throw it off the river, and then Willie stays there, and you're just like, well, we got him again, and the fans have to deal with it. Could you not see that happening of him coming back if they go 6-6?
Yeah, well, I mean, we said last week we thought he would be back.
Yeah, I think because they have no choice, but yeah, I think they're probably 90%.
Let me tell you, if Urban's agent reaches out behind the back channels, he's gone. 100%.
Yeah, I think you will get an increase in donations. That's for sure. That poor little kid can retire selling lemonade at the age of 4.
Well, if you're looking for a fun thing to do this week, it is the first anniversary celebration of the Pensacola Chick. That's right, of right there, Chicken Salad Chick. You could check them out. It'll be from 10:30 to 8 p.m. Coming up here right around the corner tomorrow, actually, is the date. It is Triple Points Day, and $1 equals 3 craving credits. All guests can enter to win free chicken salad for a year. It's really good food. I've had it, by the way.
I have not been
It's even
there
for
yet.
your carbs diet. You could fit in it. I know they got some mayo in there. You can ask for it light, things like that.
No,
do the dry chicken salad kind of
thing.
Takes away the purpose here.
Starting this week, I went plant-based, so I'm not going to touch it for a little bit.
We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to get to more of the big games coming up here. John Steele will join us of the Retirement Planners here in the second hour. We're also going to talk some UWF football with Coach Pete Shinnick after a 69-0 win and get into what would you do if you had a big-time baseball that a lot of people wanted. Would you give it back or ask for some cash? I know what one guy would do. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive. From the all-time leading running back Emmitt Smith to Hall of Fame linebackers like Derek Brooks, Pensacola is full of NFL legends. Well, how about joining some of the NFL legends every Sunday down at World of Beer, 200 South Palafox for your ESPN Pensacola NFL tailgate party. It all gets kicked off at 10 o'clock. Stay around for the best games, prizes, and more at your favorite destination. It's the NFL Tailgate Show on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
Coach K brings football to life year-round. The teams, the players, and the front office.
Well, we're very appreciative to Dabo Swinney, the head coach of the national champion Clemson Tigers, to take the time to be with us.
Talk football with Coach K every day at noon on your radio.
He does possess the skills necessary to play and be successful in the National Football League or anywhere else.
And Coach K live on Facebook and YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
All right, everybody, settle down. Welcome to Lunch with Larry with me, your host, Larry. Today we'll be talking to someone who has really achieved the impossible. Everyone, put your hands together for Gary. Gary, you cracked the code. You solved the riddle.
But all I did was get a close, comfortable shave at a fair price with Harry's.
So modest. It can't be that simple, Gary. So many guys have been overpaying for decades.
Yeah, but Harry's offers high-quality shaving supplies, like long-lasting German blades, at an affordable price.
As easy as that, huh, Gary?
Yeah. I went to the store, bought a Harry's razor and some shave gel, and started using them.
Wow, Gary. Wow. Truly amazing. Your story has inspired all of us here today. After the break, we'll be meeting Cindy the yodeling cat. Don't go anywhere. Harry's, now available at Target, Walmart, and harrys.com/radio.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies.
Fan babies.
And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
This is Davis Allen, co-host of Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Catch Justin, Patrick, and me every Saturday from 11 to 1. College football is finally back, so join us this Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is now on 1330 FM 99.1.
We're still doing this, right? This is actually happening. We're going to let this happen.
You can also listen anywhere. ESPNpensacola.com.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station, your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
.553, welcome back to the Sports Drive on this Tuesday evening. Chad Brillante, Joe Ford, Eric Vadrine having some fun with you. Caitlin holding down the fort back in our Blab TV studios, doing a great job as always. Well, would you give the ball back? Albert Pujols, the machine, hit his 2,000th RBI. Everybody celebrated. Albert got a couple seconds not to have to run down the base path, which he doesn't do anymore.
How long was this? How long ago was this?
This was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But the guy, they were trying to get to the guy to get it. Now, this isn't one of these, like, it's a historic moment for him, but it's not Barry Bonds' home run ball.
It's low for him.
He's in that criteria. He's the most consistent stats, but start adding up 2,000. I mean, let's say you averaged 125 RBIs a game. I mean, a year. You're looking at over a 16, 17 year span to do it. So, and that's a lot of RBI. You're pretty much leading Major League Baseball if you have 125 every single year. I look at it and say,
okay, yeah. So he's up to 2,074 now.
Yeah, he continues. So this was back a little.
This was
But the guy's giving the ball to Cooperstown. You think they settle behind the scenes on that, or is that? Would you ask? I mean, I wouldn't. It's your ball at that point. You got your hands on those balls. Do you? I mean, at that point, do you want to go ahead and hold on to it? You got Albert Pujols. When I get a laugh out of Joe once in a while, this is good. I know that was a quick.
Yeah.
You got that.
I told you, you're the king of sneak diss. So,
Well,
literally every word that you say, you have to listen very, very carefully, because if not, it's going to go over your head, and you probably just got insulted by the time you realize what happened. So.
I need to broadcast golf, just with the words, He stroked that one deep out of the rough with his wood. All right, let's go back to this one. As we look at this, though, after the potty talk, looking at this moment here of, would you ask for some money? What would you, if you're asking price, probably at that point I'd find a baseball consultant out there, someone that might know things. There are people like that. Like when you need to get insurance on like trucks, we find that out in the media. Nobody else has to think of these kind of things. But when you do like the punt, pass, or kick, or like if you make it inside this, right here, if you make that basket from half court, you win the truck. You have to take insurance out on that. And there are people that own companies that will take out like a $2,000 insurance fee. They make their money regardless if you make the shot or not, but they don't have to give up a $50,000 truck. They pay for it. The hole-in-ones in golf, things like that. I'm sure there's somebody that looks at like great moments in sports and has like a list of what it should cost. Like a goal of, hat trick from Wayne Gretzky, or that final moment, the cap from Charlie Hustle and Pete Rose, like these little things like that, like the memorabilia man. What do you even think the asking price on something like this would be?
It depends on the moment and what we're talking about. So for this particular thing, it's a nice milestone, but nobody's really saying, hey, I will give you millions of dollars for the 2000th RBI ball. If it was, Barry breaking the home run record, that's a different story. But, for me, in this particular instance, I would probably not want money just because I don't know how much that would be worth. But what I would do, like especially if I was a fan of that team, if I lived close, I would say, okay, how about for, the next 20 years or so, I get a pair of tickets to like 5 games of my choosing, or something like that. So the moment lives on for me a bit more. Says, oh, I got these tickets because I caught the home run ball and I turned it in, and this was just the agreement we worked out. So I would want to enjoy it more than just what one lump sum of cash would do, especially for a ball like this. It's not going to probably fetch too much.
Eric, where are you going on this? Would you want the money? Basic instinct with Albert Pujols? I'm just saying. What would you like?
It depends. So, for instance, as you know, I'm a Rockies guy. So let's say.
Already lost the fan base here.
No, you're absolutely correct, and I'm fine with that. But let's say like
throw that ball back.
Bellinger hits a home run and it's like record time. I'm anti. He's going to pay.
Dante Bichette.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if it's like a person who causes me headaches for years and years and years, I'm going to get
Vinny Castillo's
my
cleats
money
for you. You know what I'm saying?
So
Larry Walker's stolen base with his hat.
But like for instance, let's say like Nolan Arenado hit it or something like that. Honestly, I would just be like, hey, man, I was just happy to be here for this moment with you.
$50 and a hot dog.
Let me get a signed jersey.
Well, I don't eat that anyway, but no.
You want the ball here, $100.
But so, like, honestly, though, in all seriousness, if I was a fan, I would just give it to him because he earned it. He's you're obviously there to watch him, first and foremost, so let's not get that twisted. And then, secondly, if it was someone that I didn't like, if it was like someone from the Dodgers or something like that, then I'm probably going to see what I can get for it. That's how I would word it.
Yeah. I've been offered a lot for my UCF fake national title shirt, and because of the prestige of it, it's the only one. $20, guys.
I'll take your coach.
Now that it's over. They have us playing in the Military Bowl against Syracuse. Dino Babers, the future of Florida State. There you go. What a load of garbage. I did. Look, it's over. No more. I don't even get the quote anymore. We're done. We're moving on. Let's take a look here at some of the stories going on with Florida and Utah, though, is a good series. They're going to play a home-and-home in 2022 and 2023 right there. From what we saw to Florida, and we hosted the Go Gators show, but real quickly, guys, yes or no, Florida's taking that next step into being elite with Kyle Trask, or a lot of work to do?
Still to be determined.
I'm with you on that.
We've solved all the problems, folks. When we come back, I know you. I agree. I agree. But there it is, folks. We're coming back for more right here. It's the Sports Drive. One more hour to go. John Steele, the retirement planners, and Pete Shinnick, head coach at UWF, will join us.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Brock's been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
We don't need this coming in here and yawning. You're going to make us tired, man. We get the just John Steele joining us from the Retirement Planners. He just gave me the look like I have the right to yawn if you ever say that again. You know my military ties. I know. John, it's good to see you. We missed you last week. How was the trip?
Well, it was nice. I was in Dallas learning all kinds of neat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, listening to tax attorneys and ERISA attorneys.
Sounds incredible, right?
Yeah, all day long for 2 days. It was just amazing. Such enthusiasm.
I'm sure.
That's why I'm still yawning.
You're making me feel a little better about my day when you say things like that. It wasn't as, some days I'm like, oh, it was tough. And they're like, okay, that you could be there, right? But how's life going so far? Going
good?
Good.
Going great. Everything's fine.
Starting to get a little cooler out here.
Yeah,
dropping like a degree a day. So
yeah, getting
that's
ready
a good
to
thing
take
right there.
my boat out for sea trials Saturday.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you do races with it?
Mine's not that fast. It's a trawler.
Okay. Out there getting some crappie, having some fun?
No. I go fishing 40, 50 miles offshore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there ain't too many crappie out there.
No. It's some crappie fishing for crappie out there if you're trying to go 50 miles offshore.
On some days it's crappie fishing.
Yes, for sure out there. But you can get some pretty good. I got a 700-pound sailfish the other day, or swordfish. That's a good size one right there. You can get a marlin in that size, but swordfish you're usually 485, 500 is going to win a tournament. Yep. That's a huge fish. I saw that online the other day. So it has to be true. It was on the internet. Well, looking right now at the other Packers, how about the start to the season? They're off to a 3-0 start and looking good. They've got the Thursday night football game here. Aaron Rodgers is getting it done and looking like they're a complete package. It's early in the season, but
boy.
Is this who as a fan, is there one rival? Is there a team? Look, you're a member of the Navy, so obviously you have a rival in the Army when it comes to any sport or anything.
Well, when they show up.
Yeah. You want them on your team sometimes.
Yeah, now luckily they won the last 3 years in a row, but I wasn't going to go there.
It was a while before that. I was at the Army-Navy game when they weren't that close. It always seemed to be a low spread, but Navy would usually pull it off. But they haven't been Army's gotten a lot better. Them going to overtime against Michigan sparked a little more, too. Mm-hmm. And they beat Houston, took care of those Cougars, I think, by like 70 last year in one of the bowl games where already you had one of the Briles that is now with Florida State already out in that situation. But when you look right now at Green Bay, do you feel there's one team, Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit, is there one team that you feel like is more hated in the rivalry than the other?
Oh, actually, it's the old one goes back, Green Bay and the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the oldest rivalry just about since it existed. And for years, people in Chicago tried to buy Notre Dame try to buy Green Bay to move them down there. And, of course, they can't because the fans own them. And they pulled that slicky back in the 50s, when they sold out shares, and that bought their security. Because back then there wasn't that much money in football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so they pulled a very smart move, and it panned out for them rather well. But, yeah, the old rivalry is the Bears. I mean, that goes way back.
Joe, when you look right now at what we saw with Green Bay, and they're off to a 3-0 start, they got a tough game against Philadelphia this week, but do you feel that they look like a contender or a pretender right now for being a title, to win a title this year? They're clearly 3-0 and they're off to a good start. What I'm saying is, do you feel that they're a legit team, which they haven't been in a while, to win it all this season?
To win it all, no, because frankly, I don't know that any team in the NFC would be favored against the Patriots or the Chiefs. I think that the NFC is a little more watered down than it was last year. Last year was very, top heavy. There was the Rams, there was the Saints. The Packers, not necessarily, they weren't in that mix, but I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, all things are possible. But I think that they are a legitimate contender to come out of the NFC because we've seen their 3 wins. 2 of them have been against division rivals. The Vikings, who I think most people think probably have the best defense in the conference, and the Bears. And if it's not the Vikings who have the best defense, it's the Bears who have the best defense. So the Packers are going through an adjustment period. I mean, that's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to have a better second wide receiver on the opposite side of Devontae Adams. That may hinder them a little bit, but the defense, what we've been saying for years, well, if Rodgers had a defense, well, he has one now. So, yeah, I think the Packers are in that short mix of teams that we could say, yeah, they can come out of the NFC.
John, when you look at when it comes down to sports memorabilia, I want to bring this up. We were talking about Albert Pujols last segment, and it's a good topic because anything, as you get older, you realize you can write things off, or some things can be looked at as, something of worth money that you're just going to wait. It's like when I was little, I'd be like, oh man, you got all those cards you used to put in the tire spokes when the names like Babe Ruth and all these people. Mm-hmm. And, people have them today and they're like, hold on to it, son, because you give it to your daughter or your son one day. And do you feel that sports memorabilia investments are a good investment, or have you ever governed people, or you say, hey, if that's the path you want to go down, then that's fine? What do you think when it comes to sports memorabilia?
It all comes to what your passion is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if your passion is sports memorabilia, you can turn that into a profitable investment. But, I wouldn't recommend anybody going into sports memorabilia to try to make money unless it was their passion. Because that's one of those kind of things that, you're going to luck out and find something once in a while, but you're going to have to dig hard to find those things that are worth any money. And you talked about the old cards in the spokes of your bicycle. You know how many probably original cards of Babe Ruth got chewed up in the spokes.
I'm sure there was.
And there was a lot of money.
Yes,
left alongside the road from chewed up baseball cards. but yeah, memorabilia, and it comes down to this. Just about anything that you do, if you can be passionate about it, you can turn it into some profitable investment, whether it be sports memorabilia, coins, art. But you have to be passionate, or you won't have the patience, the time, and the inclination to stick to it and to do the hard digging to find the stuff that's valuable.
Looking at a value of buying, when it comes to buying sports stuff today, I remember as a kid it was great with baseball cards and the things you would go around. I feel like times have changed real fast, where I got boxes. Look, we're moving things around right now and had to take some boxes. My wife's like, take these to the Goodwill. I'm like, yeah, there's some good stuff in here right here. Got some rookie cards and some doubling up on things. Are you seeing anybody? Do you have people that you work with at the Retirement Planners that are still looking to buy that next piece of baseball cards, trading cards, things like that?
No.
Do you deal? No. Nobody like that walking in?
I've only got about 600 clients,
okay.
And
Shoot.
I can't tell you of one of them that invests in sports. I got one guy invests in art, and that's because he's an artist and he's an art teacher. Back to passion. Okay?
I guess question number 2,
made it profitable.
If somebody... My second question's out the door then. I was going to say, would you like to purchase 2 boxes of sports cards in the back of my trunk right now? I guess that question's out the window.
Did you put out the phone number? We can have an auction.
Right here on here.
Auction them
All
off.
right. I've got a second baseman from the Rangers. You may or may not know who he is here. Break those out over. Joe, were you a sport?
Trading
growing
up, I had cards, but and kind of just to build off of what John's saying. I mean, I personally would take the. You should acquire memorabilia because it's stuff that you want,
right?
Not because you think I can make money off of this. Because especially nowadays, how many rookie cards do players that come out now have? I mean, there's Fleer, there's Donruss, there's like all these different card companies, and then they all have rookie cards, right? but how much of stuff really are you able to really sell for lots of money? I mean, it's few and far between, especially in sports memorabilia. I mean, the older, more vintage stuff you get, the more likely you are. But I mean, you're gonna have to shell out a pretty penny anyway, and then it's just about waiting until the value goes up.
I'm gonna go back to something else. I looked over the spectrum of the hundreds of people I've worked with over the years, and it doesn't make any difference with sports memorabilia or anything else. The people I have found who are very successful in life, have a happy life, and have made good financial results in their life. They didn't go after it for the money.
Yeah.
They went it for the passion. That's because what I love to do. And so some people who their passion was collecting sports memorabilia, like I believe there was a guy out in out west, had a little problem with sports memorabilia, and when he showed up at the hotel trying to recover some of his. Remember OJ?
Yeah.
But in any event, so sports memorabilia there was not really a profitable business. But in any particular case, everything I've ever seen of people who have made a lot of money, in most cases, did it not because they were trying to make the money, because they were doing what they were passionate about, and the money came. Okay? And I find the same thing in just about every area and every category. So if somebody out there who's just passionate about collecting baseball cards, okay, he might have 3 million of them. I'll guarantee you somewhere in there's some that's got worth some money. But he didn't get them because he was going to make money. He got them because he was passionate about collecting baseball cards. And it just by chance, there's going to be some valuable ones in there.
Florida State's got a big decision to make, John, when you look at it's a $17 million buyout for Willie Taggart, their coach. The jokes have been there, free Willie, or you can't spell Willie without one W and two L's, and all the things that they've talked about. Well, the writing's been on the wall for pretty much since he's been there and lost their first game to Virginia Tech that he's going to be out. If you were somebody out there and you looked at as a school, everybody thinks about it from the fan perspective. We're all like, get rid of him, he can't win. And, he's had obviously the problems. But from a school standpoint, if you're sitting there and you're on the board and you know that you have some boosters, but they're starting to fade, and there's a big risk versus reward, this is almost like the stock market with your alumni. Because they're starting to pull out, and left and right, people are like the big backers, the hundreds of millions of dollars. That guy that walked in doesn't want his kids knowing about all the things he has. Those kind of guys that have all the backing behind the scenes and don't have their names on the wall and all that. They're all starting to leave, but this coach you're going to have to buy out at $17 million, which you're paying a guy free cash to play golf every day and go to Cancun or do whatever with 17. Charlie Weiss, Gene Chizik, guys like that. What would you advise if you were on that board, the decision to be made for Florida State?
Okay. With Florida State, they have to look at it as a business decision. Okay. Who is dead set against this guy? Who wants him to go?
The fans, mostly.
But who are the big donors? Where's the money? Okay. Because when it comes down to education today, it's all about the money. All of it. Now, we have fans. Yes, people have loyalty. I saw a car the other day that actually had a Crimson Tide sticker, an Auburn University sticker, and a LSU sticker, all on the same bumper.
It was Chad's.
Probably was.
I pick or choose what team's doing well.
Yeah. Well, then you cover up the other
That's
two.
right. Now that UCF lost, I'm a huge Panther fan.
But seriously, if I was sitting on that board, I got to sit here and say, okay, my job is the university, and my job is to make sure that the program stays intact. So I'm going to sit down and say, okay, I got a bunch of screaming people over here, okay, that want him gone. Mm-hmm. They hate him. They want him out of there.
Yeah.
Are those the biggest donors to the university?
It's a tough situation, and Florida State doesn't have the history of donors like some of the Texas A&Ms, some of the schools like USC or Notre Dame. They've got a strong core that Bobby Bowden created during a 2-decade period where they were dominant at that 80s, 90s into the early 2000s. But a lot of these people have seen a lot of not great football over the past couple seasons outside of Jimbo, who left them high and dry and left a lot of people with a bad taste. I look at this situation and say, this is not an easy one for Florida State to make. It really isn't. We all look from the fandom perspective, and I'm out there watching the game at Seville Quarter with their fan base. Got to speak. David Forte, the Greater Seminole Club president, had me speak at their event, and I'm talking. The difference between a few plays was the difference between Florida State being 9-3 and being 4-8, and it's been that way this year. I mean, as bad as it's been, they're a couple passes and 1 or 2 plays from being 4-0 against Virginia and Boise State of their 2 losses. They could be 4-0, a couple plays, and even with this chaos, we'd be like, hey, they're still undefeated. The difference is when you look right now at their fan base, they're all wanting him out, but that decision about $17 million for an organization like this is not easy, and people need to look at that. So, I truly believe you're going to start seeing other people fade out, other people starting to get fired.
And the other thing, talking about finances, the value of the brand, and specifically, when you turn on Florida State football on TV, and they show pictures of the stands being, 2/3 empty for the past couple of games. Miami will probably sell out, or they'll have a decent crowd for Miami. But every time you put on Florida State football, the stands are half empty. So number one, Florida State's probably not intaking as much money as they normally would. So you talk about business decisions. If you have a coach, and I know, a lot of people are thinking, oh, what about Urban Meyer? I'll say, okay, well, let's just say Urban Meyer. If for Florida State, that Urban Meyer's interested, and he's, informed you guys that, yeah, I would be interested in taking over the program. From a business perspective, financially, you are going to make a huge commitment to him, even more so than you would have made towards Willie Taggart. But, the return on that investment is, you're going to make that up in terms of all the other revenue streams that you have out there, in terms of merchandising, in terms of season tickets, in terms of concessions, and all that stuff. That weighs into it too. So, I know a lot of people want to fire Willie Taggart, but right now, they probably don't have a sense of, number one, can we afford to buy out him, plus pay a new coach, and number two, they probably don't have a thumb on the pulse of who would the next coach be, and if it would be worth it.
And as long as the program goes on with that poor turnout and that poor revenue generation, their decision at one point in time is going to be forced on them. They're not going to have any choice. They're going to have to stick with the old one because they won't have the money to buy him out, and they won't have the money to get the better coach. So, those are kind of decisions that have got to be made early. The longer you wait, it's sort of like Trump negotiating with China. He started out on these tariffs on these deals, and first 15 months, 34% of all the manufacturing in China moved out of the country. Okay, so now China more and more moving out, and they're moving to India and Pakistan, Vietnam, Philippines, Taiwan. And as time goes on, more and more move out. So at some point in time, they got no leverage. Same thing's going to happen over there. If the revenue is not being generated through the sports program, they're going to get in a weaker and weaker position, and they're not going to be able to afford the kind of coach they want that would get their program off and going, and they're not going to be able to afford to buy out Taggart.
Well, we got to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with John Steele of The Retirement Planners and check it out with the holidays coming right around the corner with Halloween and then right into Thanksgiving and Christmas. A lot of planning, a lot of traveling, a lot of things happening. And what is best for your money? Well, John can tell you and have a path for you to choose that. And we'll get to more on that when we return. We'll also talk to head coach UWF Pete Shinnick as he will join us to break down more on the Argos as they've dominated their last 2 games. They'll be back at home against Mississippi College this Saturday, and you can catch that game on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We're coming back for more right here in the Sports Drive.
Just felt there's a huge need in Pensacola to bring foot and ankle services, specifically orthopedic foot and ankle services, to this area. There's so much growth in Pensacola. I wanted a freestanding orthopedic foot and ankle center to do this, and as far as I can tell, this is the only one really in the country that's freestanding. Most orthopedic surgeons are part of a multi-specialty group. So we offer on-site x-rays, on-site CT scan, and on-site MRI. They can come to one place.
Visit NielsenOrthopedics.com to reserve your appointment today.
Well, you want to see a Broadway show, but New York City just isn't in the cards. Broadway's coming to you. Get your tickets now for the 2019-2020 Broadway season at the Sanger Theater. See amazing Broadway touring shows like Jersey Boys, Cats, The Color Purple, Beautiful, An American in Paris, and Waitress for a third of the cost you would pay on Broadway. See actual Broadway shows right here in downtown Pensacola. Get all the details at PensacolaSanger.com.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. JC and I had a blast this Thursday for the grand opening of Burger King's newest location on 9 Mile Road at University. Burger King brought the heat with its new chicken sandwich. JC enjoyed the Impossible Whopper, like the impossibility of his Dallas Cowboys making the Super Bowl. His waistline is glad he did. If you couldn't make it last Thursday, don't worry. Stop by anytime at Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University. Ask them to throw you some heat with their new chicken sandwich. Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University across from Target.
The 2019 Wreaths of Joy Gala benefiting the Art Gateway is fast approaching. This year, the event will be held on December 5th at the Pensacola Bay Center. Businesses, organizations, and individuals will gather to enjoy dinner, entertainment, auctions, and more. 9 sponsorship levels are available with proceeds benefiting children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in our community. For more information, visit their website, arc-gateway.org. We see the ability, not the disability.
Football and falling clearance prices. It's here at Pensacola Honda with these great deals. Get a Honda 2019 HR-V all-wheel drive LX CVT for only $249 a month. You own it. Or how about a 2019 Honda Accord Sedan CVT LX for $111 a month? 36-month lease, only $39.99 down. See dealer for details. Rates as low as 1.9% APR on select models. Pensacola Honda and online at PensacolaHonda.com. Home of the one price, low price guarantee.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Golic and Wingo.
A different host from ESPN Radio from around the country is going to make their pick in our Survivor pool.
This is Davis Allen from ESPN Pensacola, and my pick for the Golic and Wingo Survivor pool is Kansas City over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That might be the toughest game on the board week 1, and Pensacola is swinging with Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
5 to 9 every weekday morning. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Well, if you're looking to get some investments, it might be too late to get a cheap deal on a Daniel Jones New York Giants jersey. According to NFL.com and Darryl Rovell, who is now a financial analyst in sports, he is the number 1 jersey. Daniel Jones now ahead of Patrick Mahomes this week. Within a 2-hour period, there were more Daniel Jones jerseys sold last week after the comeback win against Tampa than there were any other New York Giant jersey during the whole entire year.
With the record of Aaron Rodgers so far this year, I'm hoping that the 10 Aaron Rodgers jerseys I own go up in value, and then I'll resell them.
Yeah. Well, because, I mean, most of Saquon, Joe, to your point with Saquon, last year was an influx of, he was top 5. So most of those people, if you're a Giants fan, and you had a pick between like an elderly gent and Eli, that was his jerseys were starting to fade. Nobody was going out to buy like the Shepard jerseys or Evan Ingram at that time. Odell was already the writing on the wall, wanted out, so his jerseys were probably not. People went with Saquon the year before. But Daniel Jones, the most in 2 hours after the game ended, people were just going crazy. Like, he's our man. I think they're not giving him much slack either. You see that he's like, I think it's like a pick against the Redskins this week, or like a 2-point spread at home against the Redskins, who have enough problems. Look, I wouldn't bet against Daniel Jones right now the way he did in the second half.
I don't know. We'll see how he does without Saquon for a full 60 minutes. I don't know.
I don't know. Beating Tampa Bay is not like let's all celebrate and go sing Kumbaya. It's not anything too special at this point, but a nice win nonetheless. John, when it comes down to looking at sports and looking at the games, do you feel that we're going to move towards an era where TV, when it comes to watching games on television, will start to fade out with people being able to be anywhere with phones, iPads? A lot of people today, one of the biggest things is you can't be in the middle of a boat or a park and have internet Wi-Fi to watch the games or things like that. There's a lot of things some people do on their phones. But do you feel we're going to get to a point in sports where the more electronics that we have, the more opportunities people will be able to do on the run, where we could be sitting right here, we could be out at anywhere in town and be able to watch the games from anywhere?
I believe it's going to go a lot farther than that. There's a gentleman out there, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's one of the greatest forecasters or prophets of what's happening in technology and entertainment and stuff, and he has been accurate for about the last 40 years. He just published a book called Life After Google. He says everything's going to change. In fact, it's not only going to go to where sports are going to, model or take over your mobile devices, and people are going to stop watching TV. They're going to stop watching their iPads. And he's saying in this book that not only that, but within 10 to 15 years from now, you won't have any need for live players on the field. It'll all be technology by then. Now, what they'll do is take the characters that we have today, everybody's favorites, just like people when they try to put together their dream team and they play all these games, etc. It's moving that way to where at some point in time, watch the teenagers today. They cannot hardly separate reality from what's going on. And as that moves on down the road, the reality of what you and I know about the sweat, the hitting, the stuff that goes on the athletic field, these kids today aren't as much into that. And it's going to move toward a form of electronic entertainment where it's going to look real, but it's not.
I mean, I'm not saying that that's not correct, because everybody at this point, we have no clue what the future holds. But I think that's going to be a distant future, though. I mean, I don't think, because today,
it can't be too distant, because that girl at the United Nations, 16 years old, just said we're all going to be dead in 10 or 12 years.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And she's got.
So we only have 10 years for this.
She's got 2 or 3 other people that agree with her.
Hologram Elvis is one thing because he's dead, but I mean, at the same right, but at the same time, I look at sports and having that physical impact and nature to root for people. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, for us, that's true. For the listeners out there, that's true.
And they do have virtual reality sets, and a lot of these kids are playing things. I'd be shocked if half the people today. My cousin, he works for a company out there that makes the virtual reality sets, and he does a lot of games. He speaks at all the big Silicon Valley events and everything, and he makes like 5 times as much as everybody in the family. But he's out there, and the things are, he'll bring stuff home, like these optimal glasses that you can see, and it's insane. I remember he brought it home for Thanksgiving.
Do you guys see the movie Ready Player One?
No, I haven't
seen it. It just
that.
came out last year.
I saw like parts of it falling asleep on HBO.
That sounds like kind of what you're talking about, where folks like in reality, but they have like this virtual world that they can enter. It was pretty good movie. I really liked it.
And as time goes on, what you're seeing is, and like I said, check out the young teenagers today. They are already moving into that virtual world. I get a kick out of it. I was being mean. Okay. I'm sitting in out there, and I'm watching you guys on the screen. You guys took your headset off. All 3 of you jumped into your headphones.
What? Yeah.
Onto your iPhones. I mean, all 3 of you. And here wasn't a year ago. I pulled up to a stoplight, and there's a convertible there. 4 young, attractive, good-looking little girls sitting in this convertible. 2 in the front, 2 in the back. Okay? And they are all on the phone talking to somebody that's not in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So they're connected to a world, but they're not connected to the world they're physically in. I see that continuing.
Well, I mean, I see enough of Chad, though.
I
don't even like him.
You're getting the point. Joe's not even real. He's been in here. He's actually in Vegas right now. That's a virtual hologram, right?
That's right.
But see, the people watching Blab right now don't know that. They think he's real. Watch. See, my hand passes right through there. It doesn't
don't
even
get too
exist.
close. You might have a reality fight. Well,
wow.
John, before we go, we do have Pete Shinnick, who right now is physically coaching a real team for now. I mean, I agree. I understand what you're saying. because it is scary. My daughter's 3,
That's
and
where
I'm
we're going.
scared with the light.
Look,
She still knows. She knows how to swipe things.
With education going where it is today, the way the kids are being brainwashed today, you got what percentage of the world now believes the world's going to end in 10 years, that we're all going to be dead, that climate change is destroying everything. They have created a reality that is in no way connected to reality.
So what I've heard from this whole conversation today, you own a boat, you know some cool islands out there, you like to fish.
Yeah.
When are we leaving? Because at this point, the world is going in a different direction. Let's just all live our last few days.
I'm not going to introduce you to any of my mermaids.
Well, hey, you better. Now, that's a financial plan. John, one more time, let everybody know.
850-995-1999.
John Steele, the retirement planners. Thanks for joining us, John. Have a good one. We're going to talk to Pete Shinnick, UWF head football coach, when we return.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. Snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you, and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Calling all Gator fans. Time to get down and dirty in the swamp.
Tony to the end zone, caught, touchdown! Here comes Ramoso, and the Gators win! Jordan Matthews is a postseason hero!
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 brings you Go Gators every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Go Gators on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Brought to you by the Holman Law Firm.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 94.5 contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
About 3 seconds if you want. And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM simulcast on Blab TV. Having some fun with you each and every night. And joining us now to talk some UWF football, the head coach himself, kind enough to make time for us after practice, head coach Pete Shinnick. Coach, we appreciate the time and congratulations on a nice win there this week at home.
Yeah, thank you. Good to play in front of our home crowd and get the opportunity to play a lot of players. Broke a program record for most players to get into a game. So very excited about that and the opportunity to show our home fans what the rest of the season could look like.
Coach, when you look at the last couple games, you guys have really been able to go out there and consistently put up some points. But you look at the score, and you guys are scoring a lot of points, but you're also playing great defense. Now, from your mindset as a coach, you just want to win. I understand that. But is there one side or the other where you get more proud of, like a coach watching their player dive into the stands or taking a charge might be more important than them hitting a sky hook or a three? Is there something as a head coach that you're more proud of when you see a low-scoring grind or maybe a higher-scoring offense? Is there one in your brain, or is it just a win is a win?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but I mean, I will say the shutout is a hard thing to do, and you don't see many of them. To play as many guys as we played over the course of time, to still be able to shut someone out, that to me is probably the most, pride that I take in, what the accomplishment is. Now if you're playing a team that scores 35 a game and you hold them to 7, that's amazing. But, overall, I think, defense it's a hard process with everything that offenses are doing today. So that was very satisfying to get the shutout last weekend.
Coach, before the season, a lot of publicity, a lot of excitement, really kind of centered, I think, around J.C. Robles. But now 3 games in, Austin Reed really doing a good job. It seems like he's kind of taken the horns of that position there. Do you kind of see it that way, or do you plan on, kind of building in all 3 guys into your game plans week to week?
Yeah, we've kind of settled on Austin as the starter, but still plan on playing JC and still plan on involving him. And so, with that, we feel like we've got a really good combination, and we've got a really nice balance that we can do. JC came in as the front runner, but we said all along, hey, we're going to compete and see what takes place, because, Sam Bond didn't go through spring ball and Austin Reed didn't go through spring ball. So when it was all said and done and, we've evaluated everything, we feel like Austin's the guy to lead us right now, but still really preparing JC to be able to take it and, using Sam in different situations. And, I think we played 3 quarterbacks last weekend, and for Sam Bond to lead us on, a touchdown drive for him to score, and then really to lead us on another successful drive where we ended up taking a knee, that's always good to see in a game.
Speaking with UWF head football coach Pete Shinnick, kind enough to make time for us here on the Sports Drive. Coach, how many times, and I know you live and breathe football, like the movie Waterboy, a playbook is just one thing and they have fun with it with the plays. But you guys, you grew up in a household that was always around football. You never stop. The wheels are always in motion. You're always thinking of recruiting or the next game ahead or the schedule or what guy to start or your assistant coaches or who you have to hire or fire. It's always going through there. Is there ever a point in the game when you guys are prepared and you have a game plan and one guy just has a hot hand? I was watching that UCLA-Washington State game. That was ridiculous on Saturday night that had 71 points after your guys' game. I went home and I'm looking 71 points scored in 1 quarter pretty much. In a guy in Dorian Thompson-Robinson who took over and went for almost 500 yards. They didn't game plan on him being that good, but they just started letting him throw the football. Has there been that moment where you just start seeing a guy and go, wow, you know what? We're going to change our philosophy a little here tonight based on how great this guy is doing?
Oh, yeah, and I think, you have to adjust. And I think most guys that have had success calling plays, whether it's offensively or defensively, you find that if you got somebody going, it's not very smart if you don't go back to them. And so when you get a back that's hot or you get a wide receiver that you just got to get the ball to or your quarterback's clicking, you might have, and I try to script the first 20 plays of every game and, try to follow that. But there's times where it's like, ooh, okay, I'm skipping these 3 plays because I want the ball in this guy's hands again, just how he handled it. So I ended up watching that game last night as I was watching film, the replay of it, and I agree with you. They just found ways keep getting him going because he was rolling in the second half.
Yeah, I think Chip Kelly might have got bailed out by that fumble after going for it on 4th and 2. I would hope if you watch the end of it, you would probably agree he probably should have got the 3 and tied it, right? Right before that? Did you watch the end?
Yeah, I'm kicking the field goal, or I'm running another play.
Yeah,
that fumble helped. That fumble helped a ton.
Yes, there was probably nothing in the game plan to say, "Hey, Washington State's going to fumble when if they get the first down, the game's over." So yeah, he got a little bit bailed out. He looked a lot better. That's one of those you can smile and look a lot better in the press conference when things like that help bail you out. Virginia Lynchburg in that game right there. You guys go out in a 69-0 win, a huge victory for the Argonauts. We're excited. You guys are back home after the win against Shorter the week before. You guys continue to gain confidence. Coach, when you look right now at the matchup against Mississippi College, this is a team that I've watched you guys play a number of years. They always seem to be right there, a tough opponent, but a game where the confidence in UWF football is another victory. What can we expect as a fan in the stands this week there at Blue Wahoo Stadium?
Well, I mean, Mississippi College is probably one of the more dangerous teams just from what they do. They're very similar, in their approach. Carson Newman-wise running the triple option. Their quarterback may be one of the more athletic guys. He's a first-team all-conference player as a utility person, but they play him at quarterback. He's athletic, dynamic. There were times last year where he made some amazing plays against us, and they kind of feed off each other, both offense and defense, of trying to make big plays. And they're really a big play offense and a big play defense. So we've got to be sound, and we've got to be solid in what we're doing and how we're doing it to get to where we want to. 2 years ago we played them at home and needed a Marvin Conley interception at the goal line to win the game. We were up 21-14, and they were driving, and Marv intercepted the ball, and that kind of saved us. And then last year we went up there, and I think we had about an hour and a half rain delay, and in a tight game with them. So they've played us tough, and we need to be able to be ready for that. I'm excited about what we've been able to do really the last 6 quarters of football. We've scored a lot of points, and nobody scored on us, so we got to build on that.
Talking with head coach Pete Shinnick from UWF. And, Coach, in the early part of the season, it's always good. Something that you mentioned is you were able to play a lot of guys last week. And I'm just curious because, in a season, there's always a few that really emerge and really surprise you with how well that they do in games. Maybe they didn't show it necessarily on the practice field leading up to the season, but once the games start, there's always seems to be a couple of guys that really you say, wow, we weren't necessarily expecting this. Maybe you pinpoint a couple of those guys that you've been pleasantly surprised with their performance in the early going?
Yeah, I think, when you look at the running back, Shamari Mason kind of finished us off really well and ended up running for, I think, 70-plus yards in the game. That was a nice plus for us on offense. Evan Mitchell, he had 3 catches, and I think 2 of them were for touchdowns, and so that worked out very well. Another guy, Anthony Manning, wide receiver, we were able to get the ball in his hands a couple times. And defensively, we've been playing a lot of guys. And, our defensive player of the game, we had 2 of them last week. T.J. Williams, who had the interception for the touchdown, and then DeMarco Artis, who, neither one of those guys are starters, but yet they were our defensive players of the game. And DeMarco had numerous tackles behind the line of scrimmage and really, created problems for their offensive line. So, it's always good to see that. And, again, when you can play a lot of guys, then you can figure things out, where guys fit in, what they're capable of doing, how they're capable of doing it. So, those are a few, and I could probably go on and on if we had the time.
Well, Coach, we always appreciate all the time we have, and looking forward to another big game here. Mississippi College, it's family weekend. It's going to be a blast. Everybody out there, support the UWF Argonauts. You can hear the game if you're not going to make it down to the stadium right here at 6 p.m. on ESPN Pensacola. right there on 1330 AM and 99.1 FM. But, Coach, I want to ask this real quick because we have a lot of fans out there, kids driving back from school or things like that. You've had a number of guys from Anthony Johnson Jr.'s, and there's a long list of Devin Gibsons throughout the year. I remember that first day when we were sitting around at Seville Quarter when you had your first ever opportunity with a guy like Devin, who had the long hair, looked like an old school wrestler from WWE, and he was the first guy here locally. But there's been so many big names since there. If you're out there, everybody wants to go to YouTube or Twitter or social media today with the kids. But if you're, as a head coach, speaking right now with all the local high schools and all of the local maybe community colleges or anyone out there listening, what advice would you give the players if they want to be the next UWF Argonaut to play football?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we talk to guys all the time, about what that looks like. Obviously, number one, you got to be doing well in school because that's the first thing we're going to look at. So we want to know what your GPA is. Have you taken the test score? You need a great test score to get into UWF. That's first and foremost. Number two, what type of person and teammate are you? We want to know that you care about your teammates and that your teammates like you. And then obviously on the field, what separates you from the other guys that we look at? There's got to be some quality that, is drawing our eye to you, saying, okay, he's different than everybody else. Sometimes it's a work ethic. Sometimes it's your speed. Sometimes it's your hustle. Sometimes it's your demeanor. Sometimes it's your smarts. There's all kinds of things that we look for, but really what's separating you from everybody else?
He's head coach Pete Shinnick, kind enough to make time for us each and every week to talk a little Argonauts football on your home for radio on ESPN Pensacola. Coach, we always appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to doing this again here soon. And good luck this week. We'll be rooting you on and be there on the field against Mississippi College.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach Pete Shinnick, one of the best right there. And for the folks that don't know, if you're new to the area or you have not followed UWF football, this is a team in their second year. No team had ever even made the postseason. Just 2 years, not 2 years as head coach Pete Shinnick, 2 years as a program that he built from scratch. He had done it at UNC Pembroke. He comes into UWF, does it, and not only do they get all the way out there to an opportunity for the playoffs, but then they go to a national title game. And everybody around, it was around that Christmas time, holiday parties, people were all watching. Joe, I mean, it's going to be one of those moments where if you're from here, we're not both originally from here, but I remember exactly where I was watching UWF in that game. It was a little bit too far. Tommy Thrall actually went out
Kansas
there.
City,
Kansas
right?
City, Missouri, yeah, but it was Kansas City, and it was a little bit of a trip. So,
Yeah.
I think it was Kansas City, Kansas, actually, but they went right there. They went out to the game, and they played Texas A&M Commerce, but it was on ESPN, ESPN2, and, man, it was just fun to watch that moment. I'll never forget. It was a good battle. They battled back. Mike Beaudry, they made some plays, but always will be a historic moment. And then Coach Shinnick walks across the stage in Charlotte for the Division II Coach of the Year. Same year my fake national champion Scott Frost did. So a big moment right there. Special moment for all, right? We all agree. When we come back, we're going to get to more on the UWF Argonauts. We'll break down a little of the stories today, including title odds changing and also the 2020 coaching odds for Florida State, and also break down a little MLB postseason with the wild card. Hey-oh, right there. Nothing like getting a guy $330 million for that former team to eliminate him on today. As the Washington Nationals did that exactly to Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies. We're coming back for more right here on the Sports Drive.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
It's the 50th anniversary of Woodstock this year. And this week at Harley-Davidson, it's time for peace, love, and Harley-themed bike night. Thursday night, come out for live music from Christy D's Bad Juju, free burgers and brats on the grill, and you know Harley's Angels will be serving free drinks. Plus, Harley-Davidson says WTF. The Harley-Davidson of Pensacola team says they are willing to finance. Bad credit, no problem. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Hey, Chad here from the Sports Drive. JC and I had a blast this Thursday for the grand opening of Burger King's newest location on 9 Mile Road at University. Burger King brought the heat with its new chicken sandwich. JC enjoyed the Impossible Whopper, like the impossibility of his Dallas Cowboys making the Super Bowl. His waistline is glad he did. If you couldn't make it last Thursday, don't worry. Stop by anytime at Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University. Ask them to throw you some heat with their new chicken sandwich. Burger King's newest location, 9 Mile Road at University across from Target.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is your home to UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola. 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast on Blab TV each and every night, having some fun. We've got ourselves a nice random warehouse of goods going on here.
Yeah, I was just thinking we should update this. I mean, bring in some mini helmets of like our favorite teams or something.
There's no method to this madness.
Like I could have like a little Jets helmet and like your little Patriots helmet, and we just
start the thrift store of ideas. With all your. What would be your, if you could put one thing in the middle of the table? A Buckeye hat? I mean, a helmet? Like a Woody Hayes memorabilia,
like
a
a
wrestling
soccer scarf?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Rock'em Sock'em Woody Hayes robot? That'd be a cool game. Like back in the day. Was there any old school game that you remember was your favorite growing up as a kid?
Yeah, there was a couple, and it never worked, but you remember the little football game where like you turn on the buzzer and the players would just
yes, I do remember.
I don't remember what it was called.
I'm
gonna look that up.
I know what you're talking about though. 100% no. Oh gosh.
I know, right?
So I mean that was before us. That was in the 80s or before.
Yeah. I had one. Man, I wish I could remember what it was called.
Were you a foosball guy? Like your dad ever pull you down there and to play the old foosball?
No, and I've heard about like Stratomatic. That's before my time. I don't know if you ever played that or not. And the other thing, my dad one year he got me like a little hockey, like a little stick hockey game. Kind of like the foosball, but with hockey players. So
you couldn't afford it. Paper football back in the day. The old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why I did that with my middle finger. That wasn't meant necessarily. It was just the one. But yeah, that was fun. Did you ever get into? Now this is more. We're dating earlier, and as you can tell, it's the end of the show as we do this. As about 6:54, it starts to drop and fade off into whatever comes to my mind. But the old the punching. You know, the old, you pull down the bag at the game. You know, any local bar scene or anything like that, or restaurant where you can pull down the bag and do the punch.
Your RPI or whatever.
Try to be like Mike Tyson or show off to somebody.
Yeah.
You know, that's how this finger got broken like this. No joke. It's not a story I want to get into. A wall that I didn't see in a couple tequilas. But looking at the games real quickly, the wild card right now to give everybody a little where we're at right now with baseball. We've got Oakland is a game and a half up on Tampa, and Tampa is 0.5, a half game. Easier said, a half game up right now on the Cleveland Indians. This is going to be a battle. Like, that means something. The wild card right now, the Cubs just completely have imploded.
Yeah.
They're 6 down at this point. Milwaukee has, even without Christian Yelich, the guy everybody goes, how does that guy hit the ball so far? He weighs like a bean sprout there. But he's the MVP. He would have been the MVP again. He still actually might, missing 20 games. But without him, they found a way. Milwaukee has battled. Craig Counsell, one of the favorite back in the day. Remember the old batting stance like that? Craig Counsell is one of the best. He really is a good manager. He's done more with less with that roster. And both St. Louis and Milwaukee, some big-time ups, big-time credit for what they've been able to do and get it done. But at this point, Washington and Milwaukee look to be locked and loaded to be in the wild card with L.A., St. Louis, and Atlanta already in. So pretty much at this point, unless Milwaukee loses every game and the Cubs win every game, it looks like it's done at that point.
The old Billy Haywood 4-game sweep there at the end from the Little Big League.
Yeah.
I just don't see it happening. But, so we're thinking what? The Braves, I think I was listening earlier today, they would play the Cardinals in the NLDS, if I'm not mistaken. Does that sound right?
Yeah, and then L.A. gets the wild card. So how it works is right now the Dodgers have the best record. They'd play the winner of Washington and Milwaukee. And then the St. Louis and Atlanta are pretty much locked to play each other. Unless St. Louis loses. I mean, St. Louis could still lose out, and then Milwaukee could win out and still, but that's not going to happen probably. St. Louis, Atlanta, I mean, that's always a classic. You know those two fan bases are going to show up and watch. I mean, that's one thing where a lot of people are like, oh, baseball, it's getting regionalized markets. There's still I mean, Atlanta, you go to Atlanta, they didn't care much about those Thrashers in hockey, but I'm telling you, when you go to Atlanta, the Braves, and when you go to St. Louis, obviously, it's the one stadium, too, where it's like the respect in the history of the game means something. Like, they're not one of those, like, the drunks being like, they do have Busch Light right there. Their stadium's named after Anheuser-Busch. But when they're sitting there, they're all like, Pujols, you bum! You left us for L.A. Took more money, Hollywood. Like, nobody, they do a standing ovation for what he's done for them, being the machine. And there's very few teams that will give that type of credit to people that have left to another team. And Albert Pujols, St. Louis are great fans when it comes to baseball. I was talking to one today, Greg Miklos from Two Men in a Truck. There's some good fans out there when it comes to St. Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. And even as a Cubs fan, I know that the Cubs and the Cardinals are the big rivals, for most people. But for me, I mean, I have nothing but respect for the Cardinals. I mean, our Andrew McKay on our sister station, he's a huge Cardinals fan.
He is.
And, we rib each other all the time. But, it's good. I mean, baseball, I know the Cardinals were out of the postseason for a couple of years there. But when they're involved this late in the season, I mean, baseball is just so much better for it.
Joe Madden, is he back with the Cubs?
I
don't.
And again, he's not a bad manager. I just think it's run its course. It's we got the World Series. He will always be a legend for that. It's just time. I think that it needs to be shaken up. I mean, Theo will still be there, Jed Hoyer, but time for a new manager with new ideas and just a new.
Well, yeah, and I hope they have a backup plan for their rotation, because Cole Hamill, John Lester, these guys are not getting. They're not going to be around much longer. These guys are getting old.
I think there's going to be a couple big trades in the future for them involving some pretty prominent players.
Yes.
So,
Joe enjoyed it today.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 71 points in 16 minutes. UCLA and Washington State scored. That's insane. That's fun football. I stayed up. I couldn't sleep. Thanks for joining us here on the Sports Drive, and God bless.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night.